All right. Well, nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to meet
Ashlyn.
you.
I'm a student here at Kirkwood.
I'm Maurice Perez. I'm also a student here at Kirkwood.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll jump right in. So, what is your story like? Give me the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between.
I would say my story is mainly just my parents immigrated here from Mexico about, I would say, like 20, 30 years ago now. And I am a first generation of my three siblings. I have an older brother, he's 8 years older than me, and my sister is 4 years older than me. My brother graduated, obviously, in 2014, and so on and so forth. And we've had to move a bit because of it. There's been a lot of struggles with just dealing with the fact that I am a minority. Both parents are from Mexico, and having to deal with, speaking another language and obviously speaking English. Learning two different languages at a young age was a little difficult, especially now. I wouldn't say I'm the best at it because of my brother and sister knowing more. They were able to help my parents more than I could have, so I don't feel like I'm that there yet. But I would say just main struggles right now are just like, dealing with like a world where sometimes people view me in a different way because of, what race I am, what I deal with. Also just like in the field I'm in, creatively, I could be blocked just because I have had people view me differently because of what I look like or how I sound.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you have a support system, you said, with your brother and sister.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about that? I know sibling connections are super important to me as well. So
yeah, my sister and we obviously were the closer in age, so it was easier to use her as like a rock to lean on whenever I needed. We always were around each other. We were always helping each other out whenever needed. My brother, he was because he had so much on his plate, it was very difficult for him to connect more with me and my sister because he's helping my dad with either chores, labor, stuff like that, to translating a lot of things for him, whether we're in the hospital or just paperwork, taxes, whatever, all that stuff. So he had to learn a lot and was pushed into a position where he needed to step up fast and not only help my parents with all this, but he also had to help my sibling, me and my sister, learn English, teaching us lessons and stuff because my parents were always working. I never really grew up seeing them that often. They were usually I would say 95% of the time they were at work or they were doing something or coming back from work. So they were always tired. So my brother would always have to keep up the slack with me and my siblings as well, or with me and my sister, sorry. So I think my sister and I just always kind of leaned on each other in that. And we always try to stay off my brother's back for a lot of things just to make it easier on him because of how much he was dealing with.
That's awesome. Sounds like there's a good balance there.
Yeah, we tried to.
Yeah. Well, cool. And I guess piggybacking off of that, with everything that you've already shared, is there any big failures, valleys that you've had to go through, and how did you overcome those things?
Yeah, I would say just in general, it's just when it comes to failure in general, it's just the fact that my parents put so much trust in me. They've always put me as in an independent role because they've always seen I can handle situations very easily or figure out situations, whether it's dealing with paperwork for something or just being on my own in general. So whenever I have messed up before, it was just always it's usually just money wise, just because we've never really had a buttload of money or anything like that. So it was difficult for us. Whenever I did get money or when I had a job, I would sometimes go broke really fast because I'm finally able to spend this money on myself. I don't have to ask my parents for anything. So I would, buy something, I've always just wanted, whether it's not useful at all or, just reminds me of me being a kid, whatever, this and that. So
Gotta treat yourself.
Yes. So it was always just difficult for me, just to money manage in that way. So, and my parents, now that they are more in a stable state, they have been teaching me that a little more. So I would say just failure, just me having to ask my parents for money whenever needed or something like that. It's always just been a big stab in the back, in my opinion, because I just always felt like, oh, I should be more responsible. I should be able to manage it better. But it's just the fact that because we didn't have much growing up, or like we didn't obviously get whatever we want or anything like that, it was difficult for me to like not say no to myself, basically, because I also earned this money. So I felt more inclined to want to spend it on myself. And also just like, I like to spend money on people too, like people I care about and stuff. I like to, not spoil, I would say, but just like whenever someone's like, oh, I don't really want to pay for that, I'll just pay for it for them, because to me, it's just like, I like seeing people happy. I like them having what they want more than just like worrying about more than needed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. So it seems like you've kind of been like forced to grow up quicker than the typical child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that could be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
I guess with that, like, is there any, like, through that, what has been the highs of it all, and like how is your transition from being a kid to growing up and then now going to college? Like, how does that feel and how has that been?
I would say just because obviously growing up with my parents, like being a kid to like high school, I was restricted in the sense of, oh, I have to be home at a certain time, kind of, like, because I like before basically I turned 18, before I was an adult, there was more like on the plate, I guess, because they were minorities and stuff. It was difficult for them to want to just like let me be or do whatever, like feel less consequence. Like they felt like they had an extra tier of like, if you get in trouble, we will get in trouble more, if that makes sense. Which like always like just like always that always shouted over me, or like showered over me, just in the sense of like I had to like say like my friends were doing something stupid. I was always just like, okay, I should not be doing this, because what if like something happens and my parents have to get involved? And then like, you know, they and we grew up in a very white conservative town, so it was very difficult for us to like for my parents to like go outside or like anything, because whenever we even just talked outside, people would just stare at us and they would act like we were outsiders and stuff, even though, you know, we were there doing the same thing they were doing. So my parents have always like had trouble finding like friends or like people that they talk to on a regular basis. Until recently, like, we've had a neighbor move in. They've been kind to them and everything, which I appreciate. But just like from like kid to teenager, like 17 years old, I've always just like tried to stay under the radar, in the sense of like not trying to get in trouble, not getting the like, you know, my parents called or anything like that. But like me turning 18 to now, I would say I'm a lot more just like out there doing whatever I want and everything, because I know for sure it cannot fall back onto my parents at all, besides the fact if I was still living at home. So I think it's just very, you know, nice that my parents don't have to worry about me really at all now in general, just in the sense of like getting in trouble or anything like that, because I know now like, okay, I'm not going to do anything stupid to get me in major trouble or anything like that.
Yeah, cool. So sense of independence and like sort of freedom, sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Has there anything that you've learned from, like maybe some things that you've seen like from your parents' side now that you're in that independence and like freedom and anything like that? Yeah.
I would say I'm definitely a lot more expensive than I thought I was. I guess I have a lot of expensive hobbies / the career path I'm going on requires like more expensive equipment and stuff. So just in general, like it is a lot of money going into what I want to do / what I like to do. So from like, you know, playing video games, whatever, or I like to go to a lot of concerts and stuff. So I think and just like buying merch and stuff, that stuff really adds up a lot. But and I'm going into like my degree is digital arts, so I'm into photography, videography, marketing, social media creation, everything like that, graphic design. So a lot of this takes equipment that can actually handle to do it all, and that adds up a bill as well. So I would say just like my expenses and in general, because I'm also still young, so I like to have, you know, nicer things, nicer clothes, nicer shoes, all this and that. So I think it's just in general like but like when I was with my parents or like living with my parents, I would never really ask for these things that often. I would ask for like maybe one thing every like 4 months or something like that, and that's just because like I didn't want to financially burden my parents too much, especially now because like they still help me with like a lot of things out, whether it's like buying food or like going out to eat. They'll help me with groceries every once in a while just because they want to. Yeah, I just think expensive wise, I would have been a problem if I'm still at home.
Hey, that's a good thing to
Yeah,
acknowledge,
yes.
though. I don't think I've quite acknowledged that yet, so good for you there.
Yeah.
Awesome. I guess with that, how has like college been?
I think college has been a roller coaster of emotions, in my opinion. There's been like major highs and major lows. Coming into Kirkwood, or not even just Kirkwood, just in general, coming into college, I was dealing with a lot. There was a lot on my mind. There was a relationship that I had that I thought was, more stable and everything, but that happened to, get cut shorter than I would have liked. And because of that, I drowned into like a lot of bad habits and a lot of bad things. And it caused me a lot of money, a lot of friendships, a lot of just like mental strain as well. So it was difficult for me to keep up with my grades. And there was a point where I literally thought I was going to drop out and just move back home. But two major people in my life, two like friends of mine, I went to high school with and everything. They got me out of it pretty much. They pretty much helped me become more self-aware of like life is gonna throw those things at you a lot, and you just gotta view it as just an obstacle you have to get over, not so much as a thing that's gonna stop you and keep you there. So I would say just when it came to like coming into Kirkwood, it was just very difficult for me to just find myself, I guess, find like what I like to do, like, because that's kind of like another point where I was at. I didn't know like what I really liked, if the degree I chose was going to be right for me and stuff. Because I've always had like I've always wanted to go into creative field, but didn't know if what I wanted to choose to do, I guess. But I think just in general, that like first semester / going into like the second semester was like one of the worst periods of my life, just in general. Not because of like even just school, just like what was going on mentally. But I would say that summer literally was probably the second best summer of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just started connecting with a lot of people that like I knew were good to me. They were good people. I knew they wouldn't try to enforce anything on me or like any ideals. Like all they were was just who they were, and all they cared about is who I was. And a lot of people, I just surrounded myself with a lot of people that cared about me and did a lot for me, whether it was helping me out with a task or just like hanging out with me, in general. And just going into that next year of college, it was definitely just it literally breezed right by. I felt like I made a lot of good connections. I made a lot of good friends, a lot of good memories. And then going into that summer was literally one of the best summers of my life. I got to meet one of my favorite bands to ever exist. I got to go to a different country for the first time.
Oh, awesome.
And ever since, like, I always do reflect back onto that first semester of college, though, because I'm always just like, I was at literally this lowest point of my life, and now I am on this major high that I don't even know what the heck is going on anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's just you just gotta hold out, view the light on the end of the tunnel, know that everything is gonna be okay, or it's gonna be better for you in the long run.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask what you would have told your first semester self, and you
Yes.
just answered the question before I asked, so that's awesome.
That's exactly what I would tell myself. I would just tell myself that you gotta just, sometimes you just gotta break a habit that you know is holding you back as well. Just in general, knowing like something like you're drowning yourself in something, or you're in general just like holding yourself back, like no matter what it is. like you just got to get yourself over it. You got to tell yourself that it's going to be better just every day, step by step, no matter what. And it, in my opinion, it does help a lot.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you were at your lowest and you was it like a aha, like click moment in your head? You're like, hey, I need to turn this around, or was it more gradual for you?
I think for me, it was a little bit of both. Gradually, I just stopped getting. I just like told myself like, okay, we got to stop with these bad habits, and this is gonna stop by this and this and this and that. But then another thing that happened was someone else. They recently their mother passed away, and I ran into them not knowing, and it was like the day of it happening, and it was they like were crying and everything, and I just see them, and they were just telling me how not only did their mother pass away, but their like financial aid wasn't paying for their school or something like that. Like there was a whole finance thing happening, and apparently like they just got hit, like their car just got like totaled and everything. So they were at a way lower point than I was, and I just thought to myself like, what happened to me was obviously bad emotionally and like mentally, but there are things that could have been way worse that like I could have been in such a worse position than that person is right now, and I need to like not like I guess I'm not trying to say like compare myself like, okay, yours is not that bad so yours isn't like credible, or like you have no reason to be sad, but just in the sense of like I know it could be so much worse, so I should try to go with what I have right now and try to push forward, because this person is, you know, in a worse place than I am, and they're still coming to school and still trying to do what they want to do. Yeah. So I would just say it was a little bit of mix of both, but definitely I would say probably like more snap than anything else, though.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, seems everybody's failures they all come at different waves and different levels, and I think the fact that you ran into that person, recognized like, hey, it could be worse, but not to like justify you or anything.
Oh, yeah.
But the important part is you're sitting at this table here today, and it seems like you've picked yourself right back up, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so just based off of the, I don't know, few minutes I've been talking to you, you seem like a very like meticulous person. You kind of know what you want. You're on a good path. Like with school and everything, has there been anything that has been difficult for you in terms of like maybe holding yourself to too much of a standard? Is there anything that's been holding you back or maybe stopping you from excelling in the way that you want to be?
I would say definitely. I think my main restriction in what I do and everything is just the fact that I guess it's not the sense of failure, it's just the sense of like I know what I am capable of. I know that I could do what I want to do at the best level. It's just the fact that am I like I'm a very big person. Like if I mess up a few times, I don't want to get back into it, or like it's difficult for me to want to like get the drive again. But because of the field I'm in, failing is definitely the best thing to happen to you, simply because you will learn so much from it. So I think it's just I do hold myself to a high standard in the sense of my work can be better. I can do better. I know like I can learn more and apply what I learn so much into what I want to do. But it's hard for me to just like it's difficult for me to fail because I don't want to fail, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand that failing would be beneficial for me, but the failure part has just been so like it just dawns on me so much, and I think it's very difficult for me to want to like, or not want to fail, but it's difficult for me to accept failure in certain ways.
I would imagine that causes like a little bit of a mental roadblock.
Oh yes, it does, and it definitely shoots the motivation down a lot as well. Like it doesn't. If I do fail or something, and I like obviously learn from it, my motivation does, I feel like, in my opinion, deplete, just because I feel like I just learned this mistake and everything, and like why didn't I just research this, or you know, why didn't I do more research to figure this out so it didn't happen again, I guess. So
yeah. Cool. How do you like push yourself through that roadblock? What like tactics or what have you learned about yourself that helps you get through that?
I think it's just, if I'm being honest, like the sense of like what my family would do. I guess like
Mm.
I just think of oh, my mom and dad, my sister, my brother would just want me to keep pushing that in a sense. Just like, okay, you failed, so what? Get back up, get it going again. Keep going, because I guess my like outlook is just like I want to be able to support my family at one point in my
Mm-hmm.
life, and I feel like just that they're always like my little voice in my head, just like pushing me, hey, do better, or like you can be better, you will do better, get this done, and keep pushing forward, pretty
Mm.
much.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. That was great answers, but how, like, with all of that, all the highs and lows, roadblocks, getting yourself through it, how do you find balance between getting through all of that, personal life, I don't know if you work or anything, all of that?
I think for me, I guess I think I get really lucky with the ability of I'm able to work off a lot of less sleep.
Mm.
I personally don't like taking naps or anything like that. Like I've always viewed,
Oh, I'm jealous.
I've always viewed that stuff, in my opinion, like I'm wasting my time
Mm.
personally. Just because like instead of sleeping, I could be editing something, I could be creating something, I could be reaching out to someone, whether it is clientele, to reaching out to
Mm.
someone because oh, I know that something happened to them, or like, oh, they're my friend, I want to hang out with them. I think it's important for me to like uh, balance everything, just because I do a lot. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to go out and do things just in general, concerts and stuff, playing video games, working as well.
Mm.
I think for me, it's just I try to balance like everything in the day pretty much, and then I usually work at night. So my nighttime is just pretty much all working. But then after I get off work, that's when I usually spend a lot of time with like playing video games with people or stuff like that.
Mm.
So I just try to, you know, and then like whenever I do find myself having free time, whether it's just like 2 hours or like even just an hour gap period between my classes,
Mm-hmm.
I try to. That's where I get like my homework done, or like, oh, if I need to edit something quick, I need to do that, or like reach out to someone, whatever.
Yeah.
I try to use that little bit of time I always get to get things done, or figure out what I need to do.
Cool. So it seems like you're very intentional with your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that come naturally to you, or do you kind of have to force yourself to a little bit?
I think it really depends. I think for me, it depends on how much I have on my plate. If there isn't a lot, then I definitely have to push myself more, because I feel like there's less. Because there's less for me to do, I feel like I can just slack off for a little bit or do something. So I have to stay on track a little more. When I have a lot to do, I think that's when it's the best, because I know where my time is going to be allocated and everything. I all I know is that I just got to be there and do what I need to do. You know what I mean? So it's difficult for me to just have less, because then I do less, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Very, like, load yourself on work so you're not
Yes.
getting distracted.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know a lot of students struggle with the being intentional with their time. What would be something that you would say to anybody to, like, help, I don't know, work on that a little bit?
I think obviously everyone learns and everything on different paces, and they also like to keep their social lives in check and stuff. So I think it's very important for you to figure out not only just like your time management, how you learn and everything, but also who you're surrounded with. I think people that like that are your friends and stuff, they should understand that, oh, you have class, you need to put class first, and work as well. And I think it's important to like try to just find the balance between how you learn and everything, dedicating the time to studying, whether it's that or like just homework, lab time, whatever that needs to be done between that, and just with those friends and everything, they should understand like, okay, this person needs their time, they need to do this and that and that, so let's not bother them, let's not antagonize them or anything like that, be like, oh, come on, just come out, like, no, get your work done, get your things done, and then we'll come out, hang out, whatever, because in a general sense, if you're your real friends and everything, they're gonna want you to see you succeed, they're gonna help you if anything to succeed, so I think it's just important to like uh, have the people around you, you know, have the same views as you and stuff sometimes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Um, what is, I guess, when you were younger, did you see yourself coming to college and studying what you're studying? And I guess, how does that feel?
I think when I was young, I've always wanted to be in a creative field of some
Mm-hmm.
type. I think I've always just wanted to um, pretty much get into something that where my like what I think of my imagination whatever is outputted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, I've always just thought I was gonna be like a YouTuber or something. Obviously, that's not.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
but now that maybe not so much, but I think just but like the creative part is what always got to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even as like in my teenage years and stuff, I was always the person taking photos for people, and I've always enjoyed doing that. I always captured the moment. Um, People would always ask me to obviously take the photos and stuff. And even my senior year, I helped work on our yearbook. And I was always at all the games and stuff. And not only was I hyping up the crowd, I was also getting photos of just like the players, crowds, all that stuff. So I've always just like in my mind, I've always just wanted to do something where what I think of or like what I think is cool, what I like to see, can be
Mm-hmm.
put out to other people and they can also enjoy it. So I think maybe not specifically photography or you know content creation or anything like that was like on the mind like that. But I am glad that you know I am where I am right now because I definitely feel like I can accomplish a lot or do whatever I want in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. How many semesters do you have left?
I'm currently in my second to last. Next semester will
Okay,
be my last semester.
cool. What's your goal for the end of last
Uh,
semester?
I think my goal is to have some type of internship either already done
Mm.
or planned for that summer, and then hopefully either have where I internship hire me or have a good enough resume and some work experience to apply to a different type of studio or somewhere else similar to it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you do any of your own like content making work on the side outside of school?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I run my own type of photography and
Okay.
videography. I try to. I can't lie. I have been slacking a bit on it. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I do need to work on it a little more, but
Mm.
with school and everything, it's been kind of difficult for me to find the
Mm-hmm.
time and everything to do it. But coming out of college, or at least when I have more free time, I'm gonna try to obviously build a clientele and stuff. At
Mm-hmm.
least to at minimum get like some type of passive income in that. So I build my portfolio a little more, whether it's
Cool.
portraits, weddings, stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I've obviously helped with those type of events and other things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I would love to like obviously get paid for it more or
Mm-hmm.
you know run it on my own.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like anything on any platforms at all currently?
I do have my own website,
Okay.
ariceperez.com/portfolio.
You guys
Uh,
hear that? Yeah.
um, yeah, right now I just have my website right now. I'm gonna try. I've been trying to fix up my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to, you know, be more professional and post more
Mm.
on those. Not so much as being like a personal type of thing. Um, I want to get into more videography as well, either like content creation for like, say like a TikToker or something,
Mm.
or a YouTube channel as well. Every once in a while, me and my buddies just stream just for the fun of it. Um, but in general, I do want to start just creating more in general, just to see where like, you know, if something sticks, then I can run with it. Or if I find something I'm super super passionate about, that's what I want to do with my life. Then
Mm-hmm.
obviously go with that as well.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add, like about childhood, about college, anything else? What are your hobbies?
I think one thing I guess I want to add that's I guess because it's my story I guess
Mm-hmm.
is just like some of my beliefs I guess
Yeah.
in general. I think I'm a big guy on like loyalty.
Mm.
Loyalty has always been a thing that has driven like my friendships and stuff. And to me, loyalty can come in a lot of ways, whether it's, oh, we haven't seen each other in 5 years, but we're kicking it back like we just saw each other yesterday type of thing. Or whether it's there's something going on, whether it's like drama or something going on, and I'm involved in some way, and that person comes to me, asks me my story, or asks me, hey, what the heck is going on? And sometimes I don't even know what's happening. So, um, just like in general, just like loyalty to me is just I'm worried about you, you're worried about me in the sense of if something's happening or something's going on, you know, on your back, like I got you no matter what. And even if we're like, say like I've recently, one of my best friends in the world, we got into a major argument, like major fight to the point where we weren't on speaking terms. We wouldn't see each other. It lasted for like 2 weeks and probably a month now that I think about it. But literally like drove a huge wedge between like our entire friend group because no one knew, like we couldn't hang out because no one wanted to really like invite someone else, and then it'd be like a whole thing. And also just in general made it difficult like for everyone to even talk in like a group chat or something like that. But I know that but like what I knew is that as much as that argument and everything like divided us, say if something major happened, you know, God forbid, a family member passed away, or like I went through something traumatic or anything like that, I knew that he would have dropped everything for me like that and came and helped me out in any way he could have, because that's what to me is like loyal. Like that's where loyalty comes in, just in general. Like, and obviously in like a relationship sense as well. Like, you know, I shouldn't have to worry about you in any way. I shouldn't have to worry about anything like that because you and I are always going to be like one, or you know, helping out each other whenever needed, no matter what, no questions asked, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you think that value of loyalty kind of falls back on how you were raised in your relationship with your siblings?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I'm very family oriented. I have seen that more recently than ever. How I have a very big family, all scattered around the country and in Mexico, and like everyone that's like my parents' generation, pretty much, are starting to get like really old. Not really old, but like they're starting to get to like the point where they're getting a little slower.
You had to catch yourself there.
Yes.
Not really old.
Yeah. And so I think it's very important to me. Family is very important. I've always I will everything. You know, if you're blood to me, everything, you are my priority. If anything else, honestly, say if my like a cousin, aunt, uncle needed anything from me, I'm there to help whenever I can, however I can. And I think, and definitely that's where the loyalty thing stands, because I think like I know if I could ask any of them, they would do the same thing for me. And that's, I guess that's all I really ask for someone in general. Like if I am going to become your friend, or if I'm going to become something more, whatever it is, all I ask is loyalty, you know, and honest. I guess not even honesty sometimes, because sometimes I like a surprise, you know, like a gift, you know, whatever like that. Yeah. But in general, yeah, loyalty and family is what I am pretty much.
Oh, I love that. Pretty cool. Well, to wrap it up, if you ever watch this back in a few years, assuming it's still up on YouTube, what would you tell your future self?
I would say make good on your promises and make good on what you said you would do and stick to what you would do. And just know that even if you are at a low point, we were at this high point at a different point.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
For sure.
I was honored to be able to ask you the questions and hear all about it.
It was nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Yay.